With the Mario movie about to come out, the cast has been all over the press, answering tons of questions and giving their thoughts on all sorts of things. But there was one interview in particular that caught my interest, and this was an interview where Chris Pratt directly responded to criticism over his casting in the Mario movie and people's skepticism about his performance. Hey beautiful humans, I'm RidersDX, and today we're going to take a look at Chris Pratt's thoughts on some of this criticism that he's been receiving for his casting in the Mario movie. And the reason that I wanted to dedicate a whole video to this is because I thought this response was really interesting, and it actually really surprised me in some ways that I just was not expecting to come out Chris Pratt's mouth. And so let's go ahead and take a quick look at this from Extra TV.
When the trailer came out, everyone was like, why don't they sound more Italian? But I think the movie handles it in such a great way. So what do you say to the people who are saying they need to sound more Italian?
Come watch the movie. Go watch the movie and then we can talk. I really think that, like, once you see the movie, and you know what, in all honesty, I think you probably need to watch it twice. I think that in all honesty, the answer though is that this is a passionate fan base, and it makes sense. Like, I understand, I'm part of it. This is the soundtrack to your youth. Yeah. And you don't want someone to come along and cynically kind of destroy it as a cash grab with the movie. I fully understand that. You do not want that to happen, and there were so many hearts and souls and minds dedicated to making sure that didn't happen. And you saw the movie. It's really honors the video game. It honors the world of Mario, and is very promising as to like what we could expect over the next 10 years, like an entire universe of these types of movies. They're super nostalgic. They're really fun. It's Illumination, so they know what they're doing. And it's great because, I mean, especially for me now that I have kids, like, I have to see every animated movie, whether it's good or not. So I'm really grateful when a great animated movie comes out. And that's what this is. So thankfully, and hopefully there'll be more.
So I have to say, the most surprising thing about this quote is how physically and mentally stressed Chris Pratt comes off as from answering this question. There's just this tensity in his voice as he's really trying to like curb some of the criticism over his casting over here, that I can tell that this is actually something that's most likely been bothering him since the movie was initially reviewed. Which, I'll be honest, I was not expecting, because, you know, I don't know Chris Pratt personally. I don't know who he is as a person, and so it's easy to just kind of assume that like these big shot Hollywood movie actors are just slapped onto these projects and they couldn't care less about them. You know, Chris Pratt's a pretty huge guy. He's been in Guardians of the Galaxy, he's been in Jurassic World, he was in Parks and Rec, which was his best role, mind you. So my reaction to him being a Mario movie was a little bit skeptic, you know, it was a little cynical. It's like, okay, this is a big shot actor, he hasn't really talked about being a video game player before, at least not to my knowledge, and now he's the star of one of the greatest video game franchises of all time. And so it came off as a bit of a weird move, honestly, and something that I wasn't totally excited about. I talked at length about my skepticism, my reservation about Chris Pratt in this world, but I've always maintained that I'm going to this movie with an open mind, and I really do hope I can be impressed by Chris Pratt. And judging by this reaction, like what he's actually saying over here, he really does seem to feel the pressure around him to do really good at this world. I can tell that he's been on internet a little bit too much, or he's been primed a little bit too much by the people that are around him, and he just seems to be hyper aware of the criticism and the hate that's surrounding him in this movie, and it's something that you can clearly tell makes him uncomfortable, which actually makes it feel really bad for him, because it's a tough thing to go through. You know, the Mario franchise is huge, it has what, 30 years of history, it's got such a huge fan base, and it's like Chris Pratt said in the interview, the difference between like starring Jurassic World and the Mario movie is that people have spent, you know, who knows how many hours watching Jurassic World movies, but people have spent nearly years playing Mario games, and so that's a connection people have to this franchise that's very hard to rival in the movie cinematic universe. And so it does make me feel a little bit better that Chris Pratt really does understand how easy it's going to be to mess this world up, because he's voicing the main character that's been such a huge part of so many people's childhoods for decades on end. But it also does make me feel bad for him, because he literally looks like he's stressed over this, and I'm just like, you know what, man, it's such a tall order, it's such a huge thing that you really can't let get to your head. At least, like, you know, if you're gonna let it get to your head, then like go to a bar, have a few glasses of wine with your wife or something, and just like try your best to kind of get through it, because I can tell Chris Pratt can probably give like the most amazing performance in the world, like sound just as good as Mario, but those minute differences are going to be things that really hardcore fans are going to pick up on, and he's going to get criticized for it. You know, that's just it. He's not going to be able to please everyone in that cinema, and he really shouldn't try to do that, because it's an impossible order. Anyone that's going to be voicing Mario is going to have this reaction. You know, I think the fact that he's just a huge Hollywood star that people already know about just amplified that. And so I hope he's come to terms. I hope he's at least like relaxed about the fact that, you know, he's done his role, he's done what he could. All you can do is just let people watch the movie and, you know, take the feedback and, you know, really process it in a constructive way, and hopefully just hope that it doesn't really get to him like in a bad way. I can have my own opinions on how Chris Pratt is going to do in this role. You know, I may not be fully truly excited to hear how he's going to portray Mario in this, but what I got from this interview is that Chris Pratt really does care about this. He really cares about how people are going to perceive his Mario role. He really wants people to feel like he's not like stomping on their childhood. He really has genuine heart going into this world, and that's something that I was skeptical of. I wasn't sure if Chris Pratt was really gonna be in this, but I can just tell by his body language, by the way he's talking, and how like prepared he seemed for that answer, that he's thought about this countless nights. I can tell that he's thought about this very much so, and that it's something that does rattle his brain. That was my fear. My fear was that it didn't rattle his brain, that he wasn't gonna care. But you can tell that Chris Pratt here, he does have a sensibility to what people are thinking about him and what people's opinions are on his roles. And this is a huge role. This is a huge thing that he's doing. You know, Mario hasn't really had a proper shot at a movie like this in decades. And so he has a tall order to live up to. And I don't think he's gonna live up to it personally. I just think that it's too much. It's too high of an expectation. It's too much riding on it. He's not going to be able to meet the insanely high demands that people may or may not have for this movie. However, I can tell that he's at least tried his best, and I just hope that that hopefully means that he's done like a decent to good job in the movie. And if he did like a good job, then I'll be satisfied, because I at least know that the person that's voicing Mario in this movie actually does give a damn about it. And that's really like the heart of what my biggest concern was, is that the person that was voicing Mario wasn't gonna really have like that heart that was gonna be really needed to build Mario to be a proper character with a proper backstory and proper motivation to really carry a 1.5 animated feature. What I got from this interview is that Chris Pratt does care, and that attention to how big and important this role is does make me feel a little bit better going to this movie. Like I said, I hope he doesn't really let it get to his head. I hope he doesn't take the criticism he's gonna get like really hard, because I can already tell you that people are just gonna go into this movie and not change their mind about his voice. There's people out there that are just gonna be like, nope, this is terrible. He ruined the movie. That's it. They should just cancel him. He should never work in Hollywood again. You're gonna have people that are gonna say that. And I just hope he doesn't let it get to him, because I can tell that he's really trying his best, and that's all I really need personally. I just needed to know that he cared about this role and that he did want to try his best, and I saw that in like other actors like Jack Black. I keep citing Jack Black, but Jack Black has really shown how much he loves the role of Bowser, and that's the standard I'm comparing like the other actors to. Jack Black has just really shown just such a dedication to his role, and I'm just really excited to see his performance in particular. But this at least shows me that Chris Pratt does care about his role, is going to give it 110%, and whether or not that's good is not going to matter as much to me at the end of the day, because I know for sure that he did go into his role giving it his 100%, and likely when you give something your 100%, it's likely going to be a good performance, you know? Just saying the odds here. I think that because Chris Pratt really does come off as really caring about this performance, I think he's gonna do a good job. You know, I think he's gonna surprise me. But like I said, I'm going to this with an open mind. I'm not gonna think that he's gonna do absolutely great or absolutely terrible. I'm just gonna go in as neutral as possible. And I'm looking forward to giving my honest thoughts about not just him, but everyone's performances, the writing of the movie, the visual effects, the soundtrack. I'm looking forward to like dishing it all out. And so if you're looking forward to doing that too, then feel free to subscribe to this channel, because once I put out that video, not only are you gonna get to hear my thoughts in it, but I want to hear your thoughts on this movie. I want to hear what you think about it. And so definitely keep up with me if you want to do that. And if you want to learn more about why I think the Mario movie's biggest challenge is not Chris Pratt's voice, but actually the storytelling of it, then check out this video in the top left corner. But all right, y'all, thank you so much. The Mario movie is coming out this week. I'm going to be seeing it on Wednesday, so I'm really psyched. I really hope it's great. But thank you all so much. This is Riders, riding out.